Hey everyone, it's Types, and today we're talking about Charizard. That's right, everyone's favorite Pokemon. And when I say everyone's favorite Pokemon, I mean Pokemon's favorite Pokemon, Charizard, of course. Honestly, Mega Charizard, a cool Pokemon in my opinion. And it has two cards in standard. Well, there's the different forms of Mega Charizard, and today we're taking a look at the decks playing it because it's actually doing surprisingly well in Japan right now. And it's not brand new or anything like that, right? We saw the one in Phantasmal Flames and we saw the one in Ascended Heroes. So it's interesting that Mega Charizard is popping off a little bit right now. It's not doing crazy good, but it's doing better than I was expecting. And maybe it is going to blossom into a deck that's like legitimately pretty solid as well. But anyways, we're going to take a look at that today. And I think it is the new card, by the way, that's being played is Talonflame EX in these decks. That's the main new card that is in not this weird Ethan's list, but like the other list here. But let's take a look at these Charizards because they're not super. Um, they don't look super good at first glance. I certainly wouldn't say. They both have 360 HP. They both also discard energy when they attack and do big damage. But they are these big stage twos that cost a lot of energy. Traditionally, Pokemon like this are pretty bad. And they need something special to make them good. When I say special, it's not just big damage. It needs to be something even better than that. I'm trying to think of stage twos that have high attack costs that are good. Obviously with Dragapult EX, but that attack cost isn't super high. Technically the same as Mega Charizard X EX, but not really. This is realistically a bunch more energy. And then obviously Dragapult has Dracloak, it has spread, and also big active damage and something that we don't see in these Charizards. Also, it's a two prizer as opposed to a three prizer. And I'm trying to think of other ones off the top of my head. We had the two prize Charizard DX, but that accelerated to itself and it was also less energy. So in general, these like expensive stage twos are usually not very good. But Mega Charizard XEX, by the way, kind of weird names with what they've done here. But anyways, the Mega Charizard X is probably just what I'll call it here for this. The video has the attack Inferno Wax. It's the main Pokemon of Phantasmal Flames, kind of. And Phantasmal Flames, of course, if you don't know, it's not a very good set. It's pretty bad. It's small and it's weak. But Charizard DX here with its attack does you discard any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon. You do 90 for each card discarded in this way. So if you pair this with, for example, Neo Upper Energy, that's not particularly good. It's it allows you to attack easier, but it doesn't let you really do more damage. So you can discard it to add 90 more, but you don't add 180 more. And then you can do up to, I mean, you could do essentially uncapped damage. Taking a look at like the numbers you're trying to hit, 360 is really the highest you're looking at there, knocking out things like Mega Charizard X, EX, and really most relevant Pokemon in the game, or like every relevant Pokemon in the game, and that's 4 energy there, so that's a bunch of energy. In order to knock out the like single prizes, you probably need 2 energy, maybe some other Pokemon. You do hit weakness on Mega Excadrill, which is worth something, and some grass Pokemon as well. For most two prizes, you're looking at, I guess, 3 energy. Some are obviously 4 energy, as I said, but you're looking at 3 or 4 energy to be pretty solid here. And again, you are a stage two. There is a card that pairs with it as well, which we'll get to in just a minute. But then you have the Mega Charizard Y. This one has Explosion Y, which for 3 energy, two which are fire. Presumably they're all going to be fire. Then you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. It does 280 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's a pretty powerful snipe attack damage wise. I do want to mention if you are sniping, well, so this isn't going to knock out Dragapult EX or these like stage two prizers, or I mean that's the main thing. It's not knocking out the multi-prize stage twos. It'll knock out pretty much everything else. I guess not mega stage ones either, and not all mega basics, but I'm pretty sure it knocks out most mega basics. Though the main one is Kangaskhan, which is out of range, but you're doing a good amount of damage. I do want to say though that you aren't able to snipe Pokemon that are Terras because they are immune to snipe damage there, from like damage, not damage counter damage, and your opponent can also be running Shaman. So as an attack, it's okay. Both attacks are okay, I'd say, on the Y and on the X. I think if the Pokemon had both of them, it would be a lot more interesting and a lot more balanced. Being a card with some like a dynamic threat. In some ways, you still have that with the two different ones. You're able to if you're not evolved yet, you can choose which one you evolve into and have options there. And it's something your opponent kind of needs to play around. But ultimately, the two attacks here are okay. They are obviously expensive, though, both of them. The one requires 3 on itself, the one requires two on itself, and then some more presumably on your board some way. So Mega Charizard X is going to be the build around, I suppose. And then we do need to talk about energy acceleration. The main way by far is from the same set, Oricorio EX. Oricorio EX I've mentioned before in the past. If we get a Mega Heatran that's fire, will be, in my opinion, pretty good. But we don't have that. We have the ability Excited Turbo, though, which is interesting. As often as you like during a turn, you can attach a basic fire energy from your hand to one of your benched fire Pokemon. It is only the bench you can accelerate to. But that's really good, but only if you have a fire Mega in play. And there are a handful. There are the Charizards, there's Mega Camerupt, and Mega Delphox, I think is it. There might be another one. To be honest, it doesn't matter too much. They're not super good. I do still stand by the fact that I think Mega Carup's a little underrated, but ultimately, if you're playing Oricorio EX with Charizard, Mega Charizard, which if you're playing Mega Charizard, you really have to be playing Oricorio, then you're probably not playing another Fire Mega. So you need to get the stage 2, and then you get the basic in play, and then you get more fire energy into your hand, and you can do stuff, but that's a lot of pieces there. This kind of reminds me of, honestly, kind of Mega Meganium EX in some ways, requiring a lot of pieces. I think Mega Meganium, I would say, is a little bit better than the Mega Charizards. I don't know. Not necessarily. I'd say they both have different things. The one requires a stadium. The one can't use the stadium, right? So you got different things there. But Oricorio EX is a good card and is something that is pretty vital to the deck. And it can power up other things. It doesn't have to accelerate to a fire mega. You just need one of those in play. So it is an interesting card here, and this is the core of the deck. Again, the Mega Charizards are pretty strong once they're powered up, but they're pretty difficult to power up. And they also lose all the energy essentially, so you need to get them powered up over and over again. The Charizard X has 2 retreat, the Y has 1 retreat, so you can get out of there using, I guess, like Air Balloon or something, but it's a little awkward. But let's take a look at the list and what they're using. As I mentioned, they are running the new Talonflame EX, as well as my Kangaskhan EX, which you really need to run Talonflame EX. And also we do some Meowth EX, which has been printed since both of the Charizards. And we also see Ignition, which is interesting here, and I guess makes a lot of sense. But we see that you have Talonflame EX. Talonflame EX is a new card from the 6th Mega Era expansion, Storm Marauder / Delta Rain. They're pretty similar. And Talonflame EX, if you're not familiar, is a Stage 2 EX that's 2 HP, free retreater, but you can play it directly onto your bench if you have a colorless Mega in play. So that's really nice there. And you're going to be playing Mega Kangaskhan, using this as a big part of your draw and setup there. And then you also have the Talonflame EX, which you can then just play if you have the Mega Kangaskhan in play. It's relatively simple to get into play, and I do think it is the best card from this set. But you have the attack here, Talon Hunt. This is what you're, I guess, using it for, right? Because a 280 HP pseudo basic with 3 retreat is good, but if it doesn't do anything else, it's not that good. And then Talon Hunt it only does 150, which isn't super impressive for 2 colorless. It can be powered up using Ignition, but then you search for any 2 cards and put them into your hand. And there are any 2 cards, you don't even need to reveal them there. Ultimately, searching for cards is good. It's not something that makes a card necessarily good on its own, especially when, I mean, you could attack with this turn 1 going second. I'm not exactly sure if that's the idea. It very well may be. And then you can, set up pretty well there. You are somewhat vulnerable to Badoo, but not horrendously vulnerable to Badoo. The Charmander will one-shot it, which is cool, I suppose. And then you have, you're able to search out the rare candy in the stage 2 or something like that. You can get some energy as well. We see a copy of Fire Breather, which gets 7 fire energy. It's not a broken card, but it is a card that is really interesting. It gets just so much fire energy into your hand. I don't think it's people are talking about it with Goldengo, and I really was kind of against that idea for a while, and it didn't really, that deck didn't take off. Well, sorry, Goldengo took off, or was already taking off, but pairing it with Fire Breather wasn't super good, because ultimately you're not going to have tons of fire energy in your deck over and over again, but you can search it with Meowth the first time, or with Talonflame EX the first time, and it's a support you don't mind playing once there. And then you have the energy in this card to potentially recover or play again there. Also, with Ignition, this is really important for the Talonflame EX to power that up. It's not really doable if you aren't using it, because you can't accelerate to it using the Oricorio EX there. Oricorio EX only accelerates, I believe, to fire Pokemon. I just confirm that. Yeah, it's only to fire Pokemon. So you can't accelerate in that way to the Talonflame. You can't accelerate to the Mega Kangaskhan. I'm pretty sure you just can't really attack with Mega Kangaskhan realistically. But then we also do see a Hero Escape, which is interesting in this list. We'll take a look at the other ones to see what they're running. But with Ignition, you can also put this onto the Mega Charizard YEX to discard that instead of any other energies, which is actually pretty nice there. Something I wasn't really thinking about. Theoretically, you should still be able to just like discard fires and like recover them to some extent and have extra fires. You don't need the Ignition for the Mega Charizard Y, and it again doesn't really do anything on the Mega Charizard X. But it does it. I just want to double check it doesn't do like, yeah, it doesn't do essentially anything at all aside from I guess retreating where it's okay. But then you're able to use it just in some different situations. So that's cool. Ignition's honestly a really fun card, and a card that hasn't really had its use case, an exceptional use case just yet. I wouldn't say. I suppose we've seen it with Team Rocket's Honcho might be the best use. I could be forgetting something as well, but I don't think there's been anything that's like crazy with Ignition there. And then you also have, you have the Latias EX for that Mega Kangaskhan engine as well. That's kind of what you're relying on. We also do see a Delphox line. I think Delphox is okay-ish in the deck. Delphox certainly is a card similar to Charizard. I'd say even more so that's definitely overrated. It's not a good card. It's a fun little card. Funnily enough, in pre-release, it also wasn't particularly good, where it was one of the promos, but with Flaring Magic, this is a pretty solid draw ability. Once you're kind of up and going, you just cut a fire from your hand to draw till you have 7. There will be times when you are looking for more fire energies than you have, but I definitely do think it is a solid ability once it's up and going. I mean, it's pretty good once it's up and going. It's not broken or anything. It is a stage 2, so it's certainly not in general a particularly good card, but it is an okay draw ability. Certainly, again, good once it's going. Like, a lot of these cards, right? Like, obviously, if you compare a stage 2 to a basic, like Mega Kangaskhan to Mega Charizard, and you ignore the stage, Mega Charizard will look pretty good. Sometimes people do that, and obviously that's, the stage matters a lot. But then you also have this attack 30 for each energy attached to all Pokemon for 2 fire. Again, you can accelerate to it using the Oricorio EX, and that will allow you to theoretically do some pretty solid damage. Not as much as Charizard, presumably, but it will allow you to potentially do some solid damage, take a knockout with a single Prizer, which is nice. I think its slot within the deck is acceptable, I guess. It takes up 2 slots and will use a rare candy as well. It's fine within the deck. The thing I'm most concerned about here is the clunkiness. The clunkiness isn't terrible, but the deck of the Mega Delphox, but the deck's already pretty clunky, so I'm a bit nervous there. Then we actually see an Ethan's build. That's like kind of weird. It's not running. Sorry, it is running one Oracle EX, but just one. And you have Ethan's Ho EX to accelerate um to itself essentially. And then you have the Ethan's Cyndaquil, the Ethan's Quilava, which is going to search for the Ethan's Adventure to search for energy, kind of like Fire Breather, which is cool here. Again, getting 7 energy is a lot, really more than you'll need a bunch of the time. And then now you can get like these other Pokemon going. It's definitely an interesting concept. My question is, like, should you not just be playing Ethans? I mean, technically the Mega Charizard is a higher ceiling, but I do feel like just playing regular Ethans would probably be just as good, if not better there. And regular Ethans isn't, a super good deck. We also do see the new supporter Zinnia's, which does something. Let me check. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it's a switch, and then you move an energy from the old active to the new active. That's kind of weird. I suppose it can be used for Ethan's Ho EX. Not entirely sure why that's in the deck. It also runs End's plot, which makes a little more sense to me. Zinnia's Trust does not make that much sense to me in this deck. I'm not gonna lie. It feels really weird. But then we also see Maxtra as well, which is interesting and interesting in general supporter lineup. Then we go back to like the more regular build. This one does run Unfair Stamp. I mean, I think in general Unfair Stamp. I mean, it's the best ace spec. I don't think there's too much debate about it right now. Ultimately, it functions similarly to a draw supporter. On top of that, it has disruption, so it's good. It's not broken. So there are certainly other ace specs that are pretty solid, but this one is very good. I don't really have too much else to say about that. That list there. I know yeah, we can see a split between Unfair Stamp and like Hero Escape. Oh, that runs Scoop Cyclone. That's kind of fun, but I don't know if that's good. Oh, we do see the new like lava stadium, legendary lava lake or whatever, where you get both halves in play. It does look super fire, pun intended there, but it is a card that is, I mean, it's clunky, right? There's more clunky stuff. It ability locks evolutions, which is cool, shutting down some good support Pokemon for your opponent, and it doesn't hurt you at all. In some ways, it can actually help you turning off my or Talonflame EX ability once it hits the board against like Ogre Pond, but that doesn't really seem like it should matter. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just not loving this card. It feels like the deck's a little slow to set up in general, which isn't the end of the world, I suppose. But it's pretty bad for the deck being slow to set up. But you know, some decks. I mean, Dragapult's kind of slow to set up, and it's very good, but also pairs it with Disruption and lots of different things. This deck doesn't need to be as good as Dragapult to be playable, but it feels slow, and then it feels like Legendary Lava Lake is adding to the slowness and the clunkiness. And by the time you get in play, your opponent will have used all their abilities, or at least most of their abilities they're looking to use, and you've done not too much, and then maybe they'll just like bump it anyways. I mean, it is just a stadium, so just a really weird, not a really weird inclusion, but not one that I really love here either, because again, it is clunky. I will mention Mega Signal. Actually, we don't see it in a lot of these lists, but it is pretty good in this deck, to be honest. I do think we probably should see it in most of these lists because it can search Mega Charizard. Either of them, there's two different ones, and then it can also search Mega Kangaskhan EX, and you have the 4 Ultra Balls to do that, but I think more copies are good. Oh, we see one copy in this list, and yeah, I mean, I think playing it as like a 2 of makes a bunch of sense to me. Yeah, we actually see more. So we see Blaziken EX in this list. That I think may. Oh, so this one runs Ethan Showa as well as the So it just runs Ethan Showa. Okay, that's interesting. And then it runs some energy switches to, I guess, kind of attack there. You can actually attack in Mega Kangaskhan. I don't, I mean, do you really need Charizard at that point, right? It is big damage, but the Mega Kangaskhan stuff's pretty efficient. And then this list it runs. Okay, this is interesting. Running some like Terra Synergy stuff in a few different ways. We see the Noctowl, we see Chimpower, Area Zero Underdaps, we see Fan Rotom, surprisingly, we see Trap Ghost and Ogerpon, the water one. On the water one, threatening some bench damage, which you could still be threatening with either the single prize Blaziken, which probably wouldn't be so good, or the other Mega Charizard. So it's interesting that you are playing the water Ogerpon. Not that it's bad. I mean, I think it is probably an addition, but again, the question is like, why are you playing Charizard at this point? And then Blaziken is interesting as a pretty consistent way to get energy into play. Obviously, it's played with Dragapult some, and it's pretty good there. As a, I guess, consistency booster in terms of getting energy. It's not like flooding your board with energies, which you don't need in Dragapult, but here you kind of do, and it is still a stage 2, another stage 2 that you need to set up, and it's not setting, I mean, it's getting energies, but it's not setting you up in any other way aside from that, and it's taking resources. So I'm not loving it there. And then more Delphox. Again, Delphox just isn't super good. It's not horrendously terrible, but I certainly wouldn't want to overcomplicate things in a way I wouldn't have to. Adding more pieces that require more setup. Yes, Delphox, once it's going, can be okay. It's not amazing, but it's passable. But before it's set up, it doesn't do anything. That's true for any card, but it takes a good chunk of resources to set up, which definitely scares me there a little bit. We see this list running more Delphox and a Heatmore as well, which is interesting. At some point, I think we're kind of out of the range of the list with the newer cards, which is it's interesting to take a look at here. Whether they're better or they're worse, but we see Heatmore in this list. I don't even know what this card does. I'm not gonna lie. Apparently, it's in White Flare, and what it does is it out searches for some stuff. Actually, a coolish card, kind of like Celebi there. Outside of that, I don't really have too much to say about these lists. I mean, they're not terrible, but I think the weakest part about the deck is Charizard. Okay, Magirano's kind of fire. Magirano's like such a sick card. It's not that good. Oh, Thwackies with Vestoline stuff. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But again, my big question is Charizard worth it? Ultimately, I think the answer is no, but it is interesting to see people messing with the deck as well. I don't know if it is really any better than it was before. I mean, I guess it is. The Talonflame Kangaskhan stuff seems interesting, and I am excited to play with it. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section. I'd love to hear those there. And make sure you like and subscribe as well. That really does help support me in the channel. And also, joining the channel as a member helps. That's really appreciated. And supposedly, there's a free trial for it or something. I have no idea. That's what YouTube said. And then, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually there. So if someone sees that, I guess tell me if you can see it. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and as Osmond said, see you in the next video.